My name is Christian Dülme and I'm happy to present to you today our solutions for the topic of automatic assembly and marking, so the RailAssembler and RailLaser. Before we come to the machine itself, I just want to highlight again the initiative overall. So as you're hopefully already familiar with, smart cabinet building consists of Weidmüller, Comax then for the topic of automated wire processing, Zuken in the field of digital engineering for cabinet building, and Armbruster engineering for the assistance systems for manual production. Our approach in smart cabinet building is that we together with all four partners like to support the entire process from engineering to wiring. What is the benefit for you? In the end, the benefit is that smart cabinet building offers you integrated solutions from engineering to wiring more or less out of one hand. And this solution can be ranged from manual tools and assisted solutions to fully automated solutions. And based on that, we are able to provide you exactly the right solution for your individual needs, for your individual requirements. And all our solutions are already available and tested in practice. And that is also important to have it in your mind for the videos and presentations that I want to show later to you. So all that you can see there is available and is already in daily use. And based on that, I would start with the approach of Weidmüller in the field of cabinet building overall before we come to the RailAssembler and RailLaser. So first of all, we already saw the blue circle of smart cabinet building. Weidmüller already set up roughly 3 years ago our own orange circle, because also in the Weidmüller family, we now go more and more in the direction of workplace solutions where we don't focus on individual products and try to provide you solutions for the full circle in cabinet building. That means, for example, that we provide you manual solutions, for example, hand tools for crimping or something, or cutting or something like that. Then we have the topic of semi-automated solutions, for example, the wire processing center, which will be also provided or presented in the webinar in February next year. And for sure, we have there the topic of fully automated solutions, so the RailAssembler and RailLaser, the topic of today's webinar. For a lot of customers, it's a question if they really want to invest in the machines or if there is an alternative to participate in the improvements of automation and digitalization in cabinet building without having any kind of these investments. And there is our answer: yes, there is a way. You can make use of the automation that we did in our own factory at Weidmüller based on our fast delivery service for assembled and marked DIN rails. For sure, the topic of data preparation is very important. And also therefore, we have the Weidmüller configurator, which has automatic interfaces to ECAD systems, for sure, especially this one of our partner Zuken. And online documentation overall is also available and one part of our workplace solution approach. In the end, we are talking about more and more different solutions for or on the product level and on the machine level. And to support you there, we have also set up our connectivity consulting since several years, which helps you to find the right solutions for your individual process. And based on that, I would say, let's have a deeper look. And let me first highlight why the combination of components and machines is so important. Because from our point of view, to gain a new level of productivity in your cabinet building, it's only possible based on the perfect interconnection of components, digital data, software, and the automation solution itself. So for example, if we have a look in the component area, we are talking about ready-to-robot components. What does it mean? I want to explain to you on the next slide. Then we have there the topic of further services. For example, if you want to go in the direction of fully automated marking, it makes sense to have pre-assembled markers already on the terminals so that you don't have to put them on the terminals by your own. Just order a special article and you will receive terminals with pre-assembled markers on it. Then we have also the topic of optimized packaging. For sure, if you have any kind of assembly robot, it makes sense that you don't have to put all terminals individual in a magazine. Makes more sense to have there an optimized packaging, which makes it as easy as possible for you. Further, virtual product data is very, very important. For sure, all our machines will do exactly what you specify in the data. And honestly, also that for sure is a big hurdle because you have to have the right information in there. How you can easily come to this point is also part of several webinars in our Smart Cabinet Building Initiative, for example, with the ECAD system, or you can also start, for example, with the white block configurator to generate your individual DIN rail. And before we come to the automation solutions, just some more words to the topic of ready-to-robot components. So first of all, if we have a look at the number 2, the shape is very important. For sure, it makes a difference if a human or a machine wants to handle a terminal. Machines prefer plain outer contours so that also a grepper can easily handle these kind of terminals. Humans prefer different kind of contours, and now we're going more and more in the direction of this robot optimization. Then we have there the topic of data models again. You see there down in the right corner of the slide, a picture of one terminal out of our configuration. And in the picture, you can see some small arrows. And each of these arrows represent a so-called token point. For example, the position where you can put on a marker on a terminal, or where you can, or where you have internally in the terminal some function parts. A lot of our customers asking us when we will have there the wiring robot in the field of cabinet building. Honestly, as we already said during several webinars of our initiative, we don't see there a solution within the next years, which is really from a commercial point attractive and robust. For sure, there will be some cases where it makes sense, but for the broad market, we don't see it during the next few years. But we are quite sure that already today we have to start to go in the direction of enabling technology. And one of these enabling technologies for sure is the connection technology of a terminal. And there, from our point of view, the push-in connection minimize the movements that are required for automated wiring. And based on that, that could be already an enabler for the future. One further aspect is then the number of marking angles. We will see later during the presentation in some of the videos that our RailLaser turns the DIN rail exactly in the direction of the laser itself. And so it makes a difference how many different marking angles a component has, or all the components has, which are assembled on a DIN rail. It means that a reduced number of marking angles simplify the fully automated marking because we have less movements and based on that, higher speed. And also the topic of pre-assembled markers minimize the effort. We already saw this kind of picture one slide before. Overall, we can say that this topic, the topic of components, of data and software, you are hopefully already familiar with. And for sure, there for these topics, you know Weidmuller already. If we have a look on the other side, automation solution, that is more or less the new area. So there we have the RailAssembler for the automated assembly of terminals on rail. We have the RailLaser for the automated marking, and we have the wire processing center for semi-automated cable processing. And we also can find there the coordinated solutions from our partners. So we will also see later in the presentation, for example, how we can link ECAD system from Zuken and the white block configurator, or how we can implement assisted workplaces of Armbruster in a nice way so that we have their smart way to deal with the required variety of variants in the field of terminal block assembly. And based on that, I would say, let's move over to the RailAssembler and have a look in the process step of fully automatic terminal block assembly. And to give you some insights in the machine, I would say let's start with a short video. So this is a video from our smart cabinet building days in Czech Republic, which we conducted for sure based on the Corona restriction in September this year, and where we're showing to selected customers the overall approach of smart cabinet building and, for example, the RailAssembler. So the RailAssembler is our answer for an economical automation of the process step of terminal block assembly. And the machine has overall 40 magazines for terminals and 18 magazines for pre-cutted DIN rails. As I said, the target was to define a robot that makes also from an economical point of view sense. And that was the reason why, for example, we defined there some simple but also very smart component magazines, which consist of a reduced DIN rail profile. And based on that, for example, we have the advantage of universal control that can be handled based on this kind of magazine. Everything is steered or controlled based on the digital twin out of the Weidmann configurator. And this Weidmann configurator has, for example, automated interfaces to ECAD systems like Zugen. And based on that, if you just load the file and filled in all the terminals that are required for your production order and filled up the DIN rail magazine, you just have to press the start button and the rest is done fully automated. Again, also there, the topic of grappling different contours. For sure, we go in the direction of ready to robot, but we are aware that you have also some components to handle which aren't designed in the way of ready to robot. And that's the reason why we have there a grapper which consists of several slices. Our approach is that the RailAssembler should take care of the high runner components, and the components that are not so common in use are or can't be handled via a robot should be assembled with an assisted workplace of our partner Armbruster. You see it here in the video. So the high runners are already assembled. We scan a code on the back of the DIN rail. The workstation knows which component is missing. We are showing the operator how it has to look, where he has to grip, how many pieces, and where he has to place. And we have even there a screwdriver connection. So we are measuring for each screw the torque and protocol it in a digital product lifecycle archive. And that is a very smart way how we can bring all the information that we specify in the digital twin to the operator. For example, the topic of cross connections. We saw we have there 5 pins, but we only mentioned that still that 3 should still be there. And so based on the projection, we show the operator which pins he has to remove. So that is more or less the approach which makes from our points of view most sense. But before we come to the next process step, I just want to highlight again some of the functions of our assembly robot. So overall, you can have an efficiency increase in your cabinet building in the field of assembly up to 60%. This efficiency increase comes especially from the area of the individual commissioning of all of the components or of searching the right position. For sure, the snap-on process itself, a human is even faster than a robot, but overall, as I said, we are talking about time savings up to 60%. And an advantage is also that you can have there several hours without manual interaction. So if you load up in the morning all of the magazines, book all the production orders on the machine, we're roughly talking about 6 or 7 hours where you don't have where no manual interaction is required. Then we have the topic of seamless connection of engineering and assembly, because we are directly using the information that the engineering colleagues specify in the digital twin for the production. And based on that, we can have a reliable and high quality component assembly. As I said, the target for us was to define a simple and smart solution. So we have there a quick payback depending on the volume. So we are talking about that from our point of view. The RailAssembler is the solution if you are producing roughly 200,000 terminals per year. And please have in mind that our machine can also handle some kind of surge protection and other components. So for your own calculation, please don't only include the terminals, also include components, DIN rail components that have nearly the same dimension, because also these components our machine can handle. If we have a closer look at some other highlights, the reliable quality we already discussed. So you again see there the preview for the operator based on the digital twin of the Viper configurator. We have there the contour robust gripper, which consists of several slices, and based on that, we can handle for sure the ready-to-robot components, the preferred way, but also some other components. We have there consistent transparency, so through several booking steps. So we are scanning the package of the terminal, we are scanning the magazine where we put the terminals on, and we are scanning the magazine position, for example, where we put the magazine on. So in the end, we have really high transparency all along the production order, and we can guide also the operator through several operations. For example, which components are missing for the next production order. So for example, if we need to add another component, we also mention that to the operator. Then the topic of flexibility for sure is very important in your daily production. That is the reason why we have there universal magazines that consist of a reduced DIN-rail profile. So you can put nearly any kind of contour on the same magazine. For example, if you have to change your high runner assortment due to a big order of customer, you don't have to buy a special magazine. Just load the terminals on the magazines that you have already and start with the production. Also for the pre-cutted DIN rails, for these 18 positions, we have a very high flexibility because you can load their DIN rails with a length of 100 up to 1,200 millimeter. But if you have only the short ones, you can put several ones on the same magazine position. So in the end, we are don't talking about 18 places. We are more talking about a loading volume of 18 cross 1 meter 20. And in the middle, we have the topic of handling. So we have there longer DIN rail magazines that enable you to put on one magazine 200 pieces of a 2.5 square millimeter terminal block so that you don't have open quantities. And also based on the reduced DIN rail profile, even during transportation and the filling, no terminals can fall down or even fall out. Also, that is maybe from your point of view a minor thing, but honestly, based on our own production, we're really sure that is one of the bigger things that ensure you the acceptance of the operator. And as I said at the beginning, our target is to have there the matching assortment. So for sure, the assembler is able to handle also other components, but for the Clip-on Connect A series, we provide you, for example, also these versions with pre-assembled markers, or as you saw before on the slide, special packaging, as well as some other services. So that was the topic of assembly. Remember, RailAssembler for the high runner components and armbruster workstations for the other components which are more difficult to be handled or which, for example, has to be screwed or are not so common in use. And our idea is that after you equip all the components on the DIN rail, just put them in the RailLaser and do the marking process also fully automated. To show you this, I would also like to start with a short video. So also this machine we showed to our customers during the Smart Cabinet Building Days in Brno. And the RailLaser can also handle DIN rails with a length of 100 up to 1,200 millimeters and a total weight up to 15 kilograms. So as you can see there in the video, we directly produce the DIN rails with the RailAssembler and later put them directly in the RailLaser. So we use there our A series as a DL version. You see the blank markers on the terminals. And if you are using this kind of component, the marking process only consists of putting the DIN rail in the machine, fix it, and press the start button. And then we have there a unique image processing inside our RailLaser. And this image processing takes several pictures from the DIN rail and is checking for each marker the real position, compares this position with the position in the digital twin, and is fully automated doing the required adjustment. So we really can be sure that we mark directly in the middle of each marker. And the machine has also some further advantages. So we will now see, for example, how we can open one of the production orders. For sure, you can also scan it. So also there we can have a failure minimization based on the digital value chain. But also, for example, the marking itself has some advantages. It's quite robust due to the direct marking, or the sharpness of the contour is also very high. So that was just a short overview. To give you some more detailed information, we will come back to our presentation. And there, first of all, I want to highlight that based on the RailLaser, we are talking about time savings up to 90% in the area of marking. And that is for us the reason, honestly, to speak about the next level of fully automated marking when we come to the RailLaser. The machine also enables you a reliable quality and data consistency, because as you can see there on the screen, also there we are using the digital twin of the Wagner configurator. Then we will see later in the video how fast the lettering itself is conducted. And also the topic of universal labeling options I like to explain to you later on another slide. Also there the question is, when a RailLaser makes sense? From our point of view, the RailLaser is the solution if you have roughly 500,000 markers per year to mark. And please also there have in your mind that we are not only talking about terminals. You could see it in the picture on this slide that we can also mark, for example, search protection and some other components. So nearly same size than a terminal, then also there the automated marking is possible. The topic of reliable quality I explained already to you. We have there the robust marking through the direct marking of the marker. So we not only mark on the roof of a marker, we have more or less the color inside the material, and based on that have really maximum level of robustness. And we have there the topic of universal marking options, because based on our laser source, we are able to use our standard marking material. So you don't have to buy special markers if you want to go in the way of the RailLaser. And also that for sure is it's a good thing for your own internal supply chain and logistic, because you can use one marker for any printing technology. So if you want to print in color and you want to use a printjet, you can use the same marker as for the RailLaser. One highlight, as I already said in the video, for sure is our image processing. And based on this image processing, it's possible that our RailLaser can handle manually equipped and automated assembled DIN rails in the same level of robustness. And that I would like to show you in a video where we have an insight in our machine. So here you can see a configuration which consists of different sizes of terminals. And first of all, as I said, the image processing is doing some pictures of several sides of the DIN rail. And we are checking for each marker the position, compare it with the position in the digital twin, and we're conducting fully automated the required adjustment. And the number of pictures that we are doing is in relation to the complexity of the component. In this sample that you can see in the video, we are taking 3 pictures, so 3 sides, and then we are starting directly the marking process. And one thing is important. During the image processing and the process of the marking itself, we are generating several printing layers. And that is very important because, for example, you can have the setup that you have a very high terminal, then you have a very small terminal, and again, a very big terminal. based on this printing layouts, we will separate it and we will adjust the position so that we really can be sure that also in this kind of a valley, we will reach really the marker, and you can really mark the maximum level of lettering size on this marker also in this kind of a valley. Yes, we see now here in the video how the laser is doing the marking process. We come now more and more to the final part of the marking. Only two sides of the last block are still missing. And based on that, I think you get an impression how fast the marking is and which time savings you really can have based on this solution of a fully automated marking system like the RailLaser. Just the last markers, and there it is. For sure, the speed of the marking process also depends on the numbers of letters that you want to write on, for example, on the end bracket, or also on things like if you want to mark bold and something like that. But I think overall, it was a very good example to show you how efficient you can work based on RailLaser. And another advantage is that based on the image processing, we are also able to show you an error message, including a visual support for the operator. So we don't name it quality inspection, we call it more the RailLaser is a good friend. Because, for example, if you have a DIN rail where one of the markers is missing, for example, based on the internal transport in your production, then we show this kind of a picture to the operator. So we are showing the DIN rail, we are showing the side of the DIN rail and the position where something was wrong. And also that I would like to show to you in a short video. So just a short scene out of a video that will be uploaded in a few weeks also on the internet. And there you can see again the missing markers, how we show it to the operator, how the operator then can add the missing markers and having in the end the final result. So just as a short summary, for sure you can have big time savings into the RailLaser, but I think especially this topic of integrated quality inspection or having a good friend that is taking care is really an advantage of this machine. In the end, as I said at the beginning, from our point of view, the Clip-on Connect A series, especially with the pre-assembled markers, is a perfect complement. You can order the special version, then you will receive the terminals with the blank markers on it. And we have already roughly 160 articles available, and further versions will follow during the next months. The good thing is you can easily replace these markers. And in addition, for these components where we don't have a standard version, you can snap on blank markers by yourself and therefore use the standard marking material that you are also using for some other printing technologies. So that was just a short overview of both machines. For sure, you maybe have some detailed question, and therefore the easiest way to answer these questions is to get in direct contact with us. And us means for sure you can ask myself, you can ask Tilman Hoss, Achim Stirner, or Henning Vogler, so the partner companies for your individual needs. I would really like to thank you for your attention and your interest in our smart cabinet building solutions.